A lot of it will come down to the strength of relationships. We see with Japanese players, especially having those strong relationships with team front office officials, players on the team, any number of stakeholders plays a big role in where they sign.
Here we go, back with Kyle Glazer, who covers the Padres among many other teams, prospects, the whole deal. And he joins us right now on FT to go over the Roki Sasaki recruiting madness that's going on right now. He is going to sign with a team soon and make his
White
selection.
Sox, baby!
The White Sox are not in the mix.
The White Sox are going to do
We
it.
know the teams that are involved.
The White Sox.
The Padres
The White Sox.
had a meeting already with him in Los Angeles.
The White Sox.
Don't listen to him. The White Sox got rejected. So did the Red Sox. So did the Phillies, among many other teams.
The Phillies didn't even get a meeting. At least the White
That's
Sox
what I'm
got
saying.
a meeting.
Did they get a meeting?
How does that feel, Kratz?
Anyway, Kyle, good to see you. Make your recruiting pitch. First off, if you're the San Diego Padres, what is your pitch to Roki Sasaki to join them instead of a team like the Dodgers?
Yeah, the main pitch the Padres can make over a team like the Dodgers, first and foremost, would be quality of living. I'm from San Diego. I live in Los Angeles now. I love both places, but look, San Diego is a nicer place to live than Los Angeles. A lot less traffic, a lot less people, a lot less of the unsavory aspects. So, number one, you're going to get a higher quality of life living in San Diego. And the second part of the pitch the Padres can and should make is that Roki Sasaki, if he comes to San Diego, has a chance to elevate the Padres to a place they've never been before. The Dodgers are already the reigning World Series champions. They have a lot of World Series titles in their history. The Padres are a competitive team that's made the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years and has won a playoff series 3 of the last 5 years, but they've never won a World Series. If Roki Sasaki comes to San Diego and elevates them to a World Series champion, he will have helped do something no one else has ever done before. He will truly be a history maker. I think that, above all else, is the pitch the Padres can and should make to Roki Sasaki.
We all feel like this is a done deal already. Whatever team he's going to go to, all this like pitch and everything is like just kind of semantics. But is it an advantage for the Padres if it's not already done? Is it an advantage for the Padres that he doesn't want to talk to any of the current players? Because he obviously looks up to Yu Darvish as one of his heroes. So do they sit at the front runner because, okay, well, I don't want to really talk to any of the players, but I really want to hang around Yu Darvish?
What I'll say is, generally speaking, within the industry right now, the Dodgers and Padres are considered the two frontrunners for a multitude of reasons. One official put it to me that he feels like the Dodgers are just a hair ahead of the Padres. I had another say they thought they were neck and neck. So, for a number of reasons, most in the game consider the Dodgers and Padres the top two contenders for Roki Sasaki. At the same time, the other teams who have met with them, the Cubs, the Giants, the Mets, the Yankees, it's not a non-zero chance that they end up signing him. I spoke to an official from one of those clubs who was heavily involved in the bidding, and they said they were given the impression that they have a fair shot. They have a legit chance. So it depends a little bit who you talk to, who you believe, but for a number of reasons, most in the game do believe the Dodgers and Padres are the two frontrunners.
Why would he pick the Padres, though? I mean, seriously, I get it, but the Padres are cutting payroll. The Dodgers are like, well, yeah, we'll take you. We'll take Snell. We'll take Otani. We'll take Teo back. We'll go get Kim. We're doing all these moves. Why would he go? Like, I get why, you can be the first one to win a World Series. Okay, cool. The chances of that happening, though, with the way the Padres are slashing payroll, and there's also Luis Arraez possibly being traded. So I just don't know. I mean, I get it, unless he just really enjoys San Diego over LA. And I just don't know why someone would, at this moment, if I have a choice, and if the money is the same, I'm going to LA.
A lot of it will come down to the strength of relationships. We see with Japanese players, especially having those strong relationships with team front office officials, players on the team, any number of stakeholders plays a big role in where they sign. And if Roki Sasaki looks around, his relationships with the Padres compared to his relationships with the Dodgers, if he feels like over the course of his meetings, he connects with Padres front office officials better, that would be the main reason he'd sign. Again, the Padres have a slightly higher international bonus pool than the Dodgers, so the Padres can give him a larger bonus than the Dodgers can. But really, the money is not going to be a huge factor here because we're talking about small increments. It's going to come down to strength of relationships, and ultimately, only he's going to be the one to know how he feels, who he connects best with.
Who is afraid of the fact he only threw 100 and, I think, 10 innings, 11 innings
last year, and I get it. He's going to essentially be on. He's going to basically be like a first-round draft pick on a league minimum type of contract. It's that kind of money. So I guess if he gets hurt, whatever. But who's afraid of that? Are the Padres or the Dodgers? Or is nobody afraid of that? Doesn't really even matter. And this guy comes out and gives you 18 starts. It's a good year.
Every team is very, very aware of it. That Roki Sasaki does have a little bit of an injury history. He had a torn oblique back in 2023 that limited him. He had some shoulder and arm fatigue last year that limited him. Every team is aware of it. But for the price of essentially no more than a $12 million signing bonus at the absolute maximum, you're talking about getting potentially one of the most talented pitchers in baseball. And one international scouting director I spoke to put it, you might only get 150 innings, but it's going to be 150 innings of absolute lightning. And if you look at a guy, comparison would be maybe like a Tyler Glasnow, who also has never really thrown more than 150 innings, but every team in baseball would love to have him. You're talking about that kind of impact, even if it is in a more limited workload. Every team in baseball would want that.
Kyle, what else do you have for us on the scouting report? Obviously, you've always been very dialed in on international players. So when you see Roki Sasaki, do you see someone that is a one? Do you see someone that eventually will even build up and be able to give teams a little bit more in terms of a workload?
He absolutely has the potential to be a number one starter in baseball. It's a fastball that'll range anywhere from 95 to 102 with some late explosion. It is the best splitter in the world. It makes hitters look absolutely foolish. And the slider has gotten a lot better. One of the things evaluators in Japan spoke about was last year he became more of a pitcher as opposed to just a thrower, really using that slider more, throwing it with more conviction, and really developing that third above average to plus pitch. The command and control are more than fine. Control over command, but throws more than enough strikes. The biggest thing with him as well is he still has room for physical maturity. You look at the scouting report of when Shohei Ohtani came out of Japan as a pitcher, and I'm speaking about Ohtani as a pitcher only. It was very similar to Sasaki's. And when you look at how Ohtani has gotten bigger and stronger, he's added more pitches. There's a sense that Sasaki can do a lot of the same things and could follow a similar career arc where, hey, Shohei Ohtani, just, again, speaking solely as a pitcher, Ohtani has had some injuries. There's been times he's been limited on the mound, but he has given you a couple seasons of 140, 150, 160 innings where he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball and a true number one caliber starter.
Why is it only the Dodgers and the Padres we're talking about? Rangers have been mentioned. Some other teams have been mentioned. Cubs have been mentioned. But why do you think it's just come down to these two teams? Rangers would be a nice fit. The Dodgers, listen, they're already probably going with a six-man with Shohei and Yamamoto, so they can already fit them in. But Cubs would be a nice fit. They could use them. Rangers could use them. I just don't know why it's limited. Even the Giants, you could throw the Giants in there too. Why is it mainly just the Padres and Dodgers we're hearing about?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, all those other teams very much have a shot. It would not be an unforeseen outcome if one of them signed him. They're all in the mix. Generally speaking, just in speaking with front office officials around the game, some agents around the game, the overall belief is that Roki Sasaki, again, the Dodgers and Padres are the front runners for a number of reasons. The history of successfully integrating Japanese players, the relationships those clubs have formed with Japanese players, stakeholders throughout the country, their competitive situations, as well as the fact that both Los Angeles and San Diego have very, very large Japanese populations. One of the things people sometimes forget is along the West Coast, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, very, very large Japanese and Asian populations at large. So there's a lot of comforts of home for a lot of players. They're closer to home as well in terms of flight. So those are all among the reasons that most people in the game believe the Dodgers and Padres are the favorites. That said, Yankees, Mets, Rangers, Cubs all have a history of successfully signing and integrating Japanese players, all have a very, very long track record of helping those players reach their potential, and all have appealing aspects as well in terms of their competitiveness, their cities. So again, the Dodgers and Padres are widely considered the favorites based on my conversations with officials throughout the game, but those other teams are in the mix. It's not a situation where there's zero shot any of them sign him.
As an athlete, I care about what I put in my body, especially when it comes to protein. But can we also get some protein that tastes good? Come on, it's 2025.
Todd, that's why this podcast is sponsored by Orgain. Orgain believes real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives, and it tastes so good. Orgain's new 30-gram complete protein shakes offer protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy your cravings without any added sugar. They're also an excellent source of premium ultra-filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids.
FT loves Orgain, and you'll often see it on the desk in the studio as we fuel up before and during the show. We love it for muscle support, recovery, and more.
Remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain 30-gram protein shakes a try. Head to Orgain.com/FOUL30 and use code FOUL30 for 30% off your order. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use the code FOUL30 for 30% off.
Ruben Niebla.
Yes.
Does he have the golden ticket to get Roki Sasaki in Padres fans' eyes? Is he the guy that, like, we love this guy? He's our pitching. Ruben Niebla is the pitching coach for the Padres. He's done an incredible job of taking Michael King to the next step, continuing Joe Musgrove's ascent, getting Yu Darvish back from injuries. Like, he's done a ton. Can he be the one that woos Roki Sasaki to the Padres?
Ruben Niebla is absolutely a huge asset. And what he's done with those pitchers you mentioned, even a couple years ago, taking a guy like Seth Lugo, who had been more of a swingman over the course of his career, turning him into a frontline starter. Lugo was able to use that to go get the biggest contract of his career and was a Cy Young contender with Kansas City. It was the work he did with Ruben Niebla in San Diego that helped serve as a launch pad for that. So there's no question that the opportunity to work with arguably the best pitching coach in the game, and I would say the best pitching coach in the game, in a ballpark that favors pitchers, in an environment that favors pitchers, there's no question that's a huge, huge, huge asset. I think any organization that makes a pitch to Roki Sasaki, from a pitching development perspective, the Padres probably have arguably the most credibility in terms of, over the last 2-3 years, the ability to take starting pitchers, help them get to the next level, and most importantly, keep them healthy. A lot of teams have struggled to keep pitchers healthy, especially as they boost innings workloads. Seth Lugo stayed healthy. Michael Wacha, who had a long history of injury, stayed healthy with the Padres. We saw Michael King go from reliever to starter, made 32 starts last year, was durable. Health matters a lot. The Padres have done a lot of good things with pitchers, and Ruben Niebla and that pitching infrastructure is certainly a huge selling point.
AJ mentioned it in passing with Luis Arraez kind of possibly being on the trade block. Is Luis Arraez overrated or underrated? And does that put the reason that he's always traded, wins a batting title, he gone, wins another batting title, he gone, like, he just continues to get traded. So is he overrated or underrated? Because teams want him, but the team that has him doesn't want him anymore.
For my money, he's grossly underrated. Right now, the hardest thing to do in Major League Baseball is make consistent contact. And no one does that better than Luis Arraez. And you have to keep in mind that the Marlins Twins trade, he was traded for one of the best pitchers in baseball, Pablo Lopez. So again, that trade, you don't really look at that as him being not valued. That was, hey, we could get one of the best pitchers in baseball. Here's one of the best hitters in baseball. The Marlins, under their new general manager, Peter Bendix, are very, very model driven. And right now, the way models are currently built throughout baseball, they tend to undervalue contact and overvalue some of the supplementary skills. The Padres are an organization in their front office that talks a lot about how do we beat the model. And they understand that pure contact skills are underrated. That's how they're able to get Luis Arraez for very, very little in terms of trade costs. They brought in Donovan Solano on a minor league deal. He was huge for them last year. David Peralta, who's a great hitter, contact first, brought him in. He was huge for them last year. The Padres understand that making contact is hugely valuable and undervalued in the game today. They would love to keep Luis Arraez. They're just in a bit of a budget situation where they have to look at how can we cut payroll, and looking at all their available options to do so. Trading him is one of those options, as much as they don't really want to.
Okay, so help me out here. Contact is so valued in baseball. And for the record, I love Arraez, for people that have watched this show on a regular basis. But then why is Ha-Seong Kim not very valued on the free agent market just now? He ends up signing with the Dodgers, and cue the Dodgers side, everyone jokes, but I'm like, he signed for a guaranteed $12.5 million over 3 seasons. That in baseball is called nothing. So what's your take on how he's looked overseas? Because he was a star there. And even if he's not as good as Ha-Seong Kim, when he's healthy, is worth more than $4 million a year. So help me out here.
Yeah, the biggest thing is it's a huge, huge, huge jump in the level of pitching from Korea to Major League Baseball. We see a lot of players struggle with it, need a little bit of time. Ha-Sung Kim, for example, really needed a year and a half before he adjusted to Major League Baseball. And at the time, you remember, he got, I think it was 4 years, 22.5 million. It wasn't a huge number either. So some of it is the market for Korean hitters is always going to be a little bit deflated due to concerns about, okay, lack of conviction, if you will. How much are they going to be able to adjust over here? At the very minimum, he has the speed and the defensive chops to be a solid utility player. It looks like that's where he's going to slot in with the Dodgers. And as he continues to adjust to Major League pitching, adjust to the greater velocity, there's a sense he could be an everyday player as a hitter. But again, when talking to evaluators overseas, it was more of an average hitter kind of player, not a Luis Arias, batting title, 3 batting titles in a row, hitting 310, 320 every year. It's more with Ha-Sung Kim, 260, 270, a lot of stolen bases, high on base percentage. That's kind of the player he projects to be. And those players, when there's a little bit of uncertainty, how the pure hitting ability will translate due to the adjustment from Korea, it's hard to commit a big, big, big contract to that player.
Where's he going to play? That's all I want to know. Because the Dodgers keep saying Mookie Betts is going to play short and Gavin Lux is going to play second. Where's Kim going to play? Because they have Muncy at third, obviously Freddie at first. Where's he going to play? I mean, he's going to be because they have Chris Taylor still bouncing around everywhere. They have a bunch of kind of utility guys they move around. So where's he going to play? Because to me, it seems like the natural fit would be just put him at shortstop. Whatever offense you get out of him is great. Move Mookie back to right field, and boom, the Dodgers are set. Why not just do that? I don't understand why the Dodgers won't want to make Mookie Betts their shortstop.
That's a good question where he's going to play and why I was very surprised he signed with the Dodgers because there's not an obvious fit. I will say with Ha-Sung Kim, he's more of a second baseman than a shortstop. He's a quick, athletic defender who can play both positions, middle infield, in terms of his glove. The issue is his arm. It's below average arm strength, and his accuracy is not particularly great on longer throws. So he's more of a pure second baseman who can fill in at shortstop as needed. He's had a little bit of time in the outfield. A couple people think, you could put him in center with his speed and fill in there. So realistically, the best place for him would have been somewhere where there was an opening at second base. I thought the Mariners would have been a great pick for him. That's where he could have gone and just played every day. So I was personally very surprised he signed with the Dodgers because you're right. There's not an everyday role for him there. He's probably going to have to be another one of those guys. The Dodgers love the term optionality where, hey, they can put him at second base one day, left field the next. If they want him to fill in it short, they can, and put him in center. And he's going to have to bounce around, but I think that's just going to make it harder for him to adjust to Major League pitching as a hitter when he's constantly playing a new position every day.
Kyle, thanks for the insight. You're the man. Always love having you on, learning a lot. So give Kyle a follow at Kyle A. Glazer on Twitter, and we'll talk to you very soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.